Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to the Left of Str8 Show with your host, Scott Fullerton, as we discuss everything under the rainbow sun, from LGBT issues to foodies, entertainment to books. Join us as we talk to some of the most interesting leaders and celebrity LGBT guests and allies on the internet. So grab a cocktail, it's always happy hour somewhere, and enjoy the show. Now, here's your host, Scott Fullerton.
Well, howdy, everybody. Welcome to the Left of Str8 Show, guys. It is Monday, April 20th, 2020. I am your host, Scott Fullerton. Hope you guys all had a great weekend. If there was sunshine out where you were, you got outside a little bit in your quarantine and soaked up a little bit of sun, did some social distancing walk, or maybe a little exercise. Today is 4/20 of 2020. So I heard a great joke there. I think it was Adam Sank. I saw it on social media. Does that mean today is Barbara Walters' day to get high? RRR. April 20th, 2020. Very funny, Adam. Thanks for that. Guys, I hope you're having fun. Like you said, quarantine is going on now. I had a very busy weekend, but I kind of took Saturday off. Didn't do much of anything because I had a real busy week last week, put a lot of interviews together because we're going 5 days a week starting today. I'll talk about that in just a second. But it seems as though things are going to start to open up again. The governor of Georgia today said this Friday they're going to open, I believe it's like hair salons and bowling alleys and gyms. And then on Monday, start doing theaters and restaurants, which makes sense because no one's going to go out in public until they get to the hairstylist or go to the gym at least once or twice to get a pump on. So I understand the order of things. I just don't know if it's the right time to be doing this. But, hey, I understand people need to get back to work. They need to make money. So we'll see what happens. And hopefully we're not going to see a spike in cases. I know that Florida, a lot of counties let people back on the beach this weekend, and it was fairly crowded. People keeping a decent distance, but still you can't help getting closer to people. So we're going to see what happens there. I've been very proud of our governor, Mike DeWine, here the entire time. And, you know, it's not easy for me to say as a true blue Democrat here to have a Republican governor doing so great during this corona thing during your state. But Governor DeWine has done very, very well. He was early on the lockdown, closing things down. He's done great daily press briefings for the state. The director of health for Ohio is from my area here in the Youngstown area, and I think they've been doing a phenomenal job. He wants to start getting things open. We'll see how that works and what his ideas are. They haven't been fully brought out, but it's going to be interesting as we start to go back into the thick of things here. So that's going on. What else do we have going on here? Oh, yesterday, you probably saw my social media. If you're not following me on social media, why aren't you? On Twitter and Instagram, it's at Left of Str8. Left of Str8 is always spelled LEFTOFSTR and the number 8. And my Facebook is the Left of Str8 Show, and my personal public page is Scott Fullerton. You can always send a friend request there. But anyway, I've been posting about it all last week and this weekend. Yesterday, I was part of a group that put together a fundraiser to help all the service workers in West Hollywood, who I used to hang out a lot. You all know I used to live, born and raised in Southern California. Used to go to West Hollywood quite a bit. I still bring the show there every year. But, yeah, everyone's out of work, obviously, as everyone in the bar and restaurant industry has been in most states. So they've been putting together, my buddy Kevin Grant Spencer has worked with one of his friends Garcia. Sorry about that. Why am I blanking on the name? Oh my goodness. Travis Garcia and Kevin Grant Spencer have put together this helpweho.com fundraiser, and they're using it to do just a little help. $50 e-gift cards for anything they need to any of the servers, bartenders, entertainers, service workers in the West Hollywood area that are having a tough time. They've been out of work since mid-March, so for over a month, these guys have been out of work. So in 2 weeks' time, they had raised $15,000, and then yesterday we did a 2-hour live streaming telethon on our Facebook pages and raised $7,000 in 2 hours yesterday, guys. It was amazing. We had all sorts of great people come on. Like I said, Kevin Grant Spencer and Travis Garcia helped arrange all this. DJ Ryan Kenny, who's a very well-known DJ, was spinning tracks for us and playing the music yesterday. Drag artist from LA, Butter, and socialite and host Kyle Langen did the MC duties and introduced all the guests. We had some very special guests come on. Lance Bass from NSYNC was on, donated $1,000 to the cause. Kelly Dodd from the Real Housewives of Orange County sent a nice message for it. I got a couple of my friends, of course, David Hernandez, amazing singer-songwriter from American Idol, and Brian Jordan Alvarez, who plays Jack's husband on Will and Grace, is a friend of mine, and he did a little recording. They both did recordings for it, so we made $7,000 yesterday. So I was very, very excited about that. $22,000 in 2 weeks to help all of the service workers. And if you think that sounds like a lot, it's really not when you think about it, because we're only doing $50 gift cards for everyone. They're e-gift cards. They can use them for anything they need, but $50 gift cards for $22,000 is only 440 people, and there's lots of gay bars in West Hollywood, lots of bartenders, lots of servers, lots of entertainers. So today, if you go to the helpweho.com, that's www.helpweho.com, helpweho.com, you can go to the About page and you can get an application to apply for one of the $50 gift cards. So they're going to start giving this money out right away. We raised over the last 2 weeks. So very much excited, and good on you, Travis and Kevin, for putting this fundraiser together. It's not the end of it. We're going to be doing a lot more events. I'll be helping them out as we go along for my home away from home there. So you can always keep checking that website for more things going on. And I'm going to try, I'm having a conference call here tomorrow in Ohio to try to duplicate it for Columbus, Ohio, for all of our bars, because quite a few bars out there that have been out of work for a while as well. So I'm talking with my friends at True FM Online, and we're going to look at putting something like that together tomorrow as well. So that's been going on. Things that aren't going on, announced today, they have officially canceled New York Pride Parade and festivities, in-person festivities. I think it's the first time in 46 years that they've had to cancel the parade. So yeah, it's been canceling everywhere. It's not the first one. I mean, San Francisco canceled theirs, San Diego canceled theirs. I know here in Columbus is the second largest in the entire Midwest, and one of the fifth or seventh largest in the world or the country for Pride festivals. It's huge here. And I think we're just moving ours back to August. I'm not 100% sure. I'll have to check on that in the call tomorrow. But yeah, so now New York, San Francisco, and San Diego is definitely canceled. So that's happening. So weird stuff happening with all this, that's for sure. But let's get ready and get to it. Again, I'm very excited. This week is starting our very first week of going 5 days a week. As you know, we've always gone just on Mondays and Tuesdays. But because so many people are out of work and some people are doing some great content, I've literally done 12 interviews last week. I have another 10 scheduled for this week, pre-tape interviews. So I'm going to extend the show to 5 days a week through Corona 2020 quarantine. here until we get all these interviews played and let you know about all these great artists that are out there raring to get back to work. So please listen to us every day here on Left of Str8 Radio from 6 to 8 Pacific Time, 9 to 11 Eastern Time for 5 days of Left of Str8 Show. So looking forward to that. But let's go ahead and get to it. Today is a Musical Monday. I have 3 great musical singers and songwriters for you today. Coming up in just a couple minutes here is Kim Cameron, a multi-hyphenate whose EDM sounds have hit the charts and won awards around the world. After her, we're going to do a pre-tape interview with a former LGBT boy bander out on his own. We have a great chat about all that. That's Mr. J. Mack that will be on. And we're going to finish out the show on another live interview with an amazing trans singer and rapper who is president of the Transgender Entertainment Company as well, Miss Krystal Beverly. So we're going to get started here in just a couple of minutes, but first let's listen to our very first artist. This is Kim Cameron's single, Tiptoe. You're listening to the Left of Str8 Show right here on the Left of Str8 Radio Network. I'll be back with Kim on the other side. All right, you guys and girls, we are back live. I got to see if I can remember how to do this whole live thing. I've been doing so many pre-tape interviews this season, but I am so excited to bring you our first guest. She has toured not just this country, but around the world. Her two-time top 20 Billboard charting Deep House sound. She's performed in stadiums in front of major NFL and baseball teams, toured the Caribbean, Europe, and even China. And not content with just being a great singer-songwriter, she's a filmmaker whose screenplay for musicals received many accolades, and she's written, directed, and produced a feature-length animated movie. So much to talk about. Please welcome to the Left of Str8 Show for the very first time, Miss Kim Cameron. Kim, how you doing?
So great to be here, and I'm so happy to be on your show.
I'm excited to have you. It's tough to see people. I'm so happy to have this show and be able to talk to people remotely. It seems to be the only thing going on these days. How are you holding up in Corona 2020?
Corona 2020. Well, I've now reached the point of stir crazy. I knew it would happen, but I've reached it, so I'm there.
You can only watch so many cat videos, right? I mean, what are you going to do?
You know what? I have a cat, and I am a cat lover, so I haven't exceeded my cat video quota, so that I'm okay on that side. But everything else, I'm going stir crazy on.
It's a little wild. I mean, you never know. I've talked to a lot of my friends daily, and I'm unfortunately single, but most of my friends can't decide whether to throw out the cat or the husband first. So it's getting to be a little late in the game here. We need to find some stuff to do. That is for sure.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. But I've been trying to keep busy. I've been working with my DJ, who's actually in New York City. So I'm in Miami Beach. He's in New York City. We were supposed to be on tour this summer. We were had a full France tour and Spain, and then we were going to go to China. All of that, of course, was canceled because of Corona. So we don't know when that's all going to formulate. Maybe just have to be another year from now. So in the meantime, we've been putting together a virtually live series, and so we've done quite a few of them at this point. I think the fourth one we're going to do this Thursday, but we'll just put it on both YouTube and Facebook Live, and we do a song or two. And it took us a while to get into the right groove. We started it with actually creating a live original song with my keyboardist, and that was really fun. I mean, we just took a concept, and the three of us, would throw the concepts back and forth to each other live, and then at the end, people got to hear what we created. So that was like our first step into it, and then we thought we'd do some songs. So it's been a lot of fun. So that's been a nice distraction to do those about once a week. And at the same time, I'm still finishing up my animated feature film, which is based on my children's book series. The series is called Superpowers, so not superpowers, but like powers that are in the sea. And so the first book is called In Search of Blue Jay's Treasure, which is what the movie is based off of. So we're still in production, but we're almost in post-production. We finished the soundtrack, and I released that early, and we're about, I'd say 3/4 of the way done. The great thing about animation film is it's all computerized now, so you can toss files back and forth to each other regardless of where you are. But between those projects, that's kept me fairly busy.
I bet. Well, I definitely want to go into the movie a little bit more later because animated features take forever to make. So I'm excited to see how that process came about for you. But let's start from the beginning since it's your first time on the show. Give my listeners a little bit of background. Where did you grow up? What kind of a kid were you, and what did you first want to be when you grew up?
I grew up in Southern California, so I am definitely a beach girl. My love of music started at the very beginning. So I was a clarinet player when I started in second grade. Gradually, after doing marching band and all those things and orchestra, I really gravitated towards musical theater, and then graduated into like a really bad cover band when I was in college and out of college. And then just got an itch for songwriting and then really transform myself into an original project, and that kicked off in 2008. So really, I've been in music all my life, but really this original project didn't start until the 2008.
Gotcha. And where do you think your sound came from? You're doing a lot of electronic now, but you have some great beats and different melodies. Where do you hone your music from? Where do you think that part comes from you?
Well, I mean, I've morphed myself, not because I necessarily started out one place where I wanted to be. I've always been a dance music lover, even, like traditional dance music. I mean, I grew up with, Madonna and the early Madonna, I should say, because she's
right.
going on and on. So I've always been into the dance scene. I think where you get influenced is who you start off with as a producer. And the producer I started off with was really a rock guy, and he was an award-winning rock guy, but he kept pushing me towards, rock, which was fine. And I wrote some songs in the rock genre. I would say more on the soft rock, some rock, but it wasn't really my passion. And it took me a couple albums and a couple of different producers to be able to get to where I really wanted to be, which was really in the dance world. And so it wasn't until I hit album number 4 where I really started getting into dance, although today I would classify it as pop music, because dance has morphed into something totally different since then. But that was the direction I always wanted to go. It's just, if you don't find a producer that has the same mindset, it's really tough to get the right sound.
I bet, sure. No, I understand that completely. And you've been working with your band Side FX. How did you guys meet, and how long have you guys been together?
Well, I like to say I have this ginormous band, because it's a collection of musicians that are literally all around the world. And so I have a group of guys when I go to Europe that I perform with on a regular basis. I have some folks on the California side, the LA side, that I work with every time I go out there. Folks that I have up in the Washington, D.C. and the New York areas, and obviously folks that I have down here in Miami. So it's quite a large band. I wish I could take them, one set everywhere. They would love that too. But touring is, it doesn't always lend its magic to, overseas tickets to everybody. So you end up developing relationships on a local level, which actually I've ended up really loving, because you really get a different sense of music when you're using some local talent anyway. You get a different feel. So I typically have, DJ Halo and I typically travel together all around the globe, but then we'll end up using some of the other musicians I've met along the way. But at this point, I probably work with 20 or 25 musicians all around the globe, and it's been fantastic.
That sounds amazing. I love that. I love that you actually are supporting those localities, too, for them to get their work in their place so they don't have to travel a lot, and I think it would help everybody. That sounds amazing. I like that.
It has been great. It has been great, and the pleasure's been all mine, I have to say.
And talk about all the touring you've done. Like you said, you've been going, it seems, yearly out to all these places. Just happen to be the ones getting hit the hardest right now. But you were like the first woman to perform at some festival in China, from what I read. Talk about that.
Yeah, it was a real honor. This was last August. Actually, they made a movie out of it. It's a kind of an island. It's where they make it's Xiamen. Xiamen is, if you look at a lot of the pianos, and you'll see Xiamen. It's where they make most of the famous pianos is in this island in China. It's on the southern part. It's directly looking across at Taiwan, of all places. And they put on this huge festival. It lasts over about a month and a half, and they get something like, 500,000 people that end up seeing all the artists that come in at, various times and weekends and things like that. And they had international artists, but I was the only artist asked from the United States, and I was the only female artist asked to perform at the Shaman Festival. So it was quite an honor. They gave me an award, and they treated me and my band, which they flew all of us over from Miami, and it was an amazing experience. It was nothing that I had experienced before in all my other travels. That they very much treat you like I'm trying to figure out the right words, but they're so honored that you took the time to come over there. I guess that's how you get treated, with a lot of respect. And when you compare that to sometimes you're doing these small gigs in these small bars and people aren't really paying attention. They're, drinking their beer and they're laughing and performing. Yeah,
exactly.
The contrast is amazing when you're in, that's the other thing. Their concert hall is just mind-boggling. It seats, just goes on forever, but it's at least 5,000 seats. It's just huge for a concert hall. I can't even begin to compare it to anything I've seen in the States.
That is amazing. I've heard that from a lot of my musical guys. I've had hundreds of musical guests on over the episodes here, and they say that traveling, it's just a whole different audience as well. I mean, they just see you're surprised as much as they're into their music, how much they know your music you might not expect, or how quickly they latch on to it, and that they are treated very well. So that's great to hear. I love that. Very, very nice.
It is really nice. And for China, they're just now getting into dance music. I mean, for years it was banned. So they have kind of started off where, America, when we were younger, started off. So they're really into jazz. They're starting to get into rock. And now dance music, I would say only in the last 4 years has really been introduced there. So that's a kind of a new experience.
Nice. Very interesting. Let's transition into some other things here. I want to talk about your musical. Got great reviews and everything, called Her Story. Talk about how that came about, writing that and that project.
So I got inspired. I can't tell you how I got inspired because I don't think I can remember, but I ended up, it took several months, but I ended up wanting to take a story that I had in my head and turn it and leverage some songs I had written to making that a reality. And I finished it, and I was like, oh, okay, I feel really good. I wrote a musical, not really knowing what I would do with it. And then my manager one day, I guess it was about 3 years ago, we were talking, and I happened to mention it over, like, I don't know, we were having a sandwich over in Europe or something like that. And he said, you're in a musical? What are you talking about? So I said, yeah, I'll send you a copy. I sent him a copy. He said, oh, my gosh, this is fabulous, brilliant, blah, blah, blah. We have to do something with it. And I said, I don't know what to do with this. Anyway, he actually took it to the London Theatre District, found some folks, and they said, no, we're really interested in it. We'd like to workshop it. If you wouldn't mind coming to London. So if you fly to London, we'll take care of the workshopping it. And I was like, well, yeah, for sure. So here I'm in the heart of the, theater district and working with all these amazing actors and this director she was amazing as well, and workshopped it for a week. And then we put it on it after we'd made, some really great changes based on what they did. We put on a shorter version of it as a preview to the London Theatre District, a host of writers and producers and things like that. And it had, not only did I end up winning a couple of awards at film festivals for it, but we made the short list on a handful of theaters in London and outside of London. So the way it works is, they only pick 5 a year. So I had made, and so they'll down select to the top 12 for the next season. And mine was actually shortlisted with three of the theaters, which I was just blown away. I never would I have thought that. So it's still alive, and I'm sure someday we'll get it out there. I've been a little distracted with my film, but that's the story on her story.
That is amazing. Congratulations on it. I can't wait to see where it goes from there. I'm a huge theater fan, musical especially. And let's circle back to that feature. You said it's called Seaper Powers, Seaper Powers. It stars a starfish. Talk about it's based on children's books. Talk about what brought you to write the children's books first.
Well, the children's book series started out when I was on tour in the Caribbean. I actually had this horrible tour of being on the island of St. Bart's for a month, performing music every night with my band. How awful is that, right? So one night, I know. And so one night there was a family who was watching me perform, and during the break there was a little girl who came up to me. We started chit-chatting, and she had made this comment how she loved, her favorite sea creature was an octopus. And it struck me as a really strange thing for a little girl to like an octopus, because when you think about sea creatures and little girls, you think of dolphins, maybe a starfish or a whale.
Sure.
Never would you think of a, scraggly octopus. So the next day, my guitar player and I were on the beach, of course, is what you do when you're on tour. And, tongue in cheek, we wrote this song called Mr. Octopus. And we ended up playing it the next night, and the little girl showed up again with her family, and she just giggled, and we all had a ball over this song. And my guitar player said to me a couple of days later, he says, you really ought to write a story around that song, and we'll make an audiobook out of it. And that's what happened. It started out as an audiobook series, and then we converted it after so many parents asked for hard copies. So it's really just, this project has evolved until it's been almost 2 years ago, I had this vision that I wanted to take the first story and convert it into an animated feature film. So after I put together the script and then the storyboards, and then I began hunting for the right animators, and I already knew I had my sound team because that was my band who's done all the sound,
right,
and helped me with the songwriting, and so that part was the easy part. It was the visual part I had to figure out. But that's it's we'll knock on wood. We should be done by June, so then we decide where we're going to distribute it.
Congratulations. That is great. Now, you said you wrote the storyboards out. Do you do any of the drawing as well? Is it based on your drawings, or did you have an artist help you with that?
Well, my drawings are stick figures, but I had drawings that I had done for the books, so they had an idea of what I wanted it to look like. So I used the ones out of the books to give them a better sense. But actually, the storyboards show all the actions and if it's you can tell if it's an octopus or a little girl or a starfish or a barracuda. Believe it or not, even though my drawings are terrible. But it's and they'll the great thing with working with a professional team of animators that I'm working with is before the characters are finalized, they always is this the look you're looking for? I'm like, yeah, that's it, or that's not it, or it needs to be older or younger or whatever. So you it's all part of the process.
Nice. And like I said, most animation that I've talked to, my friends that do it, I've talked to a couple from Disney and stuff, they take years to get all this stuff done. I mean, computers have sped it up a lot, but what have you learned in the process? Do you like the process? Is it too long for you, or how's it been?
It's a very different process than normal film, and it's because in film you're thinking about things to the minute level. In animation, you have to think of things at the second level. So it's a much more detailed type of experience because the animators are only going to do what the storyteller is telling them. So if I want, my main character to lift her arm, I have to say, yeah, she's going to lift her arm. Well, how long does it take her to lift her arm? I mean, those are the kind of details that you have to give, and that's why it takes a long time, because if you don't think those out, then you will under-animate things, and then the animation feels really slow. So you end up cutting things, which is then going to mess up, all of your soundtracking and voiceover and potentially your story. So it's one of those things that you really you have to think about things at a very granular level, and you really have to think, okay, is this moving along too fast or too slow? If it goes too fast, then it looks jumpy, and people won't understand the point. If it goes too slow, I mean, kids are, they're not going to pay attention because, things are moving too fast. You've got things, Instagram, whatever, they're looking for that instant gratification. So you really have to keep things moving in a story.
Right. Very interesting. I didn't know the backstory of that. That's very cool. Now, you're working in all these different mediums. Are you able to kind of go between them pretty freely, or you go from songwriting to musical writing to children's books to animation and everything? It sounds like there's definitely some skill sets that mesh and some that are entirely different. Do you have a preference, or how are you able to balance all these?
I don't think I have a preference. I definitely switch different brain, cells when I'm doing animation versus writing songs. Those are two different sorts of creative sides, but they're not a giant leap away. When you're dealing with storytelling, especially when it comes to movies or writing books, you really, instead of thinking about phrases and melodies like you do in songwriting, you're really thinking about how do I best tell that story. And, if it's a movie, it's how do I best, tell that story visually, because there are no words, or there shouldn't be words that I need to use. I should be able to tell that story just visually. And if I need words, then I only need a few words. Otherwise, why bother to show anything? And in a book, you have to over-explain to be able to paint that picture. So it's a different mindset of how you are trying to tell that story. But once you figure out the medium that you're really trying to leverage, your brain can adjust to that. It just doesn't. I can't go from writing a book 1 hour and then switch it over to doing a film. I have I'll have days where I focus on the film, or I'll focus on other days on writing songs, or it's definitely got to be in one mindset or the other. Yeah,
definitely. I understand that. Very, very cool. Well, I can't wait to see all these things come to fruition. We got to start wrapping things up here. We've been doing a fun little segment this season called 5 Questions. So we're trying to find different things to let our listeners know about all of our categories here on the show: entertainment, foodies, books, pop culture, and the like. Do you have a favorite food or restaurant you recommend out in Miami way?
Oh, Potbelly Sushi in Miami. Fabulous.
Nice. And is sushi favorite food, or what's your favorite go-to food?
Sushi is definitely my favorite food. I miss it because it like delivery of sushi is not necessarily the same experience.
Nice. And obviously you're a prolific writer in all these different genres. Most writers I know are pretty much voracious readers. Do you have time to read? And if you do you have a favorite book author or genre you prefer?
Well, it depends on my mood. I have been, I switch. Sometimes I'll go into like a lot of historical kinds of books just because I'll have a particular interest. For many years, I was really into all of the, In Search of Atlantis, and read a ton of different archaeologists who thought they had found the secret behind that. So I was way, way, way into that for a long time. And then, typically summertime comes around, and I'm like, summertime you have to have the good beach reads, so you definitely have to have all the love stories and things like that. So all of the, I just go to the bestsellers. Well, there's this, her name escapes me right now, this great author out of Nantucket, and every year she'll write a new, story based in Nantucket. And it's always a little bit love story and a little bit of, heavy drama, like somebody has to die or get shot or something like that, which is it's so ironic, right? Because this is you're talking about Nantucket, which nothing happens on Nantucket, right? So.
Right, exactly. That's hilarious. All right, and then you're working on both animated movie and a musical. What is your favorite one of each? What inspires you? What did you love as a kid? What do you love as an adult? Is either a favorite animated movie or musical and/or?
Okay. Well, my favorite movie is as a kid was Robin Hood. Oh my gosh, how great is Robin Hood? And then my favorite musical as an adult is Beautiful.
Ooh, Carole King. I have a friend who's producer on that show. That is a beautiful musical itself. You're right. Good choices.
So amazing.
I like those. All right, so this is going to be, I want to know who a dream collaborator would be to sing with, and who would be a dream collaboration to write for, and that can be in music, film, or film.
Let's see. Wow, that's. I would love to do some kind of collaboration with Nora En Pure. I mean, she's so crazy amazing. And what was the second one?
Who would you like to write for? If you could write for someone in either a song, if you could either write a song for someone or a television or movie project, who would you like to write for?
Well, I'd love to write a song for like Nervo, maybe.
Ooh,
that might be
very
interesting.
Cool. That would be interesting. I like it. All right, and last question. You're about to be stranded on a desert island, but you're allowed to save one of your albums, mixes for one cocktail, and you get to bring one person with you. What would those three be?
Okay. So my one album I would save is my own album, No Regrets, which was album number, I can't remember, 10th maybe. My cocktail would be a jalapeno spicy margarita.
Ooh, okay.
And let's see. I would take Robin Williams because I just think that would be fun.
That would be an amazing time. You would never get bored on that island, that's for sure.
Exactly.
Very cool. Thanks for playing 5 questions with Kim Cameron. All right, we got to wrap things up here. Let everyone know your website and where they can find you on social media.
So the best place to do is just go to my website because I have all the social media icons right on top, and my website is sidefxmusic.com. Side F as in Frank, X as in X-ray, music.com, and on top are links to Instagram and to Twitter and everything, Pandora, every place I'm on. So that's probably the best place to go.
Very, very cool. And we're going to play out with a little bit of Simply Naked. Give us a quick story behind that song.
So it's really another love story, because that's what I do is I write love stories. And, when you strip away everything that you hide behind, what would it feel like to just be purely naked?
I love it. Kim Cameron, you've been a most excellent guest on the Left of Str8 Show. Thanks so much for coming on.
I loved it. Thanks so much, Scott.
Stay on the line for me. We're going to play out to that aforementioned Kim Cameron song, Simply Naked. Stay tuned. When we come back, we're going to have Jay Mack. You're listening to the Left of Str8 Show right here on the Left of Str8 Radio Network. All righty, we are back. That was Kim Cameron. Guys, we're going to go on to my next guest today. We're doing a J-Mac sandwich day. We had a live guest just now with Kim. We're going to finish up with a live interview with the fantastic Krystal Beverly. But this is a pre-tape I was able to do on Friday with my next guest. Great singer, great songwriter. This is J-Mac. We're going to play a little clip of his boy band days and get right into the interview. You're listening to the Left of Str8 Show right here on the Left of Str8 Radio Network.
Walking down this path of gold, trying to
fellas, we are back. That was a snippet of the debut for the first all-gay boy band, Echo 5. It came across my radar a few years back with their debut. Appropriately enough, Rainbow, and today we have one of the amazing singers from that group. His newest single just dropped its music video last week, and it fuses a great beat with some fantastic rap lyrics. I'm excited to find out more about his journey these past couple years and where his goal is heading now. So please welcome to the show for the very first time, Mr. Jay Mack. Jay, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, I'm doing great, guys.
Thanks for taking the time to come on the show. I appreciate it during Corona 2020. I'm sure I have a captive audience there. How are you holding up? Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm holding up. I'm in a great space. I'm surrounded by amazing people. I mean, not, too close, 6 feet away and whatnot, but I'm loving the space and I'm enjoying myself right now. A little bit of time off.
Very cool, very cool. It gives you time to write and hone and everything like that. It's got to be a little frustrating. You got this amazing new video that just dropped yesterday, and that would have been fun to celebrate with all your friends. That had to be a little sad, but it's a great video.
Yeah, it definitely was a little sad, but everybody's like viewing it, everyone's streaming it, we're all going back and forth, so lots of Zoom calls and FaceTime, so it's still nice. It's a great experience to see that outpouring of love from friends and family.
I bet. That is awesome. And what are you doing to pass the time? Are you solely doing writing and singing, or are you binging on anything, or how are you passing the time?
So the first 15, 20 days or so, I was stuck on Animal Crossing.
Nice. Nice. I have a lot of friends that did the exact same thing, my friend. How'd you get out of that rabbit hole?
Actually, I just started writing. I was like, oh crap, my reviews, everything's coming up, everything's going to be releasing. Like, I need to get back to writing. I need to get back to the core. So for the last week or so, we've been diving back into researching some music and doing some more writing and just getting back to the vibe and preparing for live stuff or live streaming stuff. So that's kind of where we are now.
Right. Very, very cool. Well, since you are a first-time guest, I always like to start at the very beginning a bit, give my listeners a little background for you. Talk about a second, where did you grow up? What kind of a kid were you? And what did you first want to be when you grew up?
Ooh, okay. So I grew up in Sanford, North Carolina, which is kind of the middle of nowhere in North Carolina. What I wanted to be when I grew up. When my mother asked me that question, I remember I told her I wanted to be Whitney Houston. So I've always kind of wanted to be in the industry and always wanted to be a singer. So that was kind of one of my first draws. The type of kid that I was, kind of shy, just super introverted, very TV and home type of kid.
Wow, and you knew you wanted to be a singer, or you just you wanted to perform, or what did you think? Or you just were enamored with Whitney?
No, I definitely wanted to be a singer. Whitney's amazing, and then that kind of just snowballed me into R&B and gospel and all those different types of things. But definitely always wanted to be a singer.
Fantastic. Well, you're so good at it, my friend. Let's start and talk a little bit about your coming out story, though. I read where you kind of had to come out twice. I like to know from my guests usually when did you first come out to yourself, and then talk about when did you really first start being part of the LGBT community, that you felt you were part of the community?
First came out to myself, I was around 11. It was the aha moment. I was like, oh, what's that thing they keep talking about? Gay. I was like, oh, that's it. That's what's going on here. I figured it out. It clicked. And then I would say, when did I really didn't start feeling like a part of the community until I got to college. You get out of the small town, you go to your university, and you're like, I'm going to reinvent myself. I'm going to be a new person. And you're like, I'm going to be rainbows and sunshine and all of this hype. And, I definitely went down that road quite a bit, just unapologetically celebrating myself and who I was and everyone around me and all that they were too, not just the LGBT community, but a lot of other aspects of humanity in general. So, yeah, probably around 18 when I went off to college.
Nice. And where did that confidence come from? Was there any artists that you were able to look up to back then, or just kind of where did you were able to dig into that well of confidence?
Honestly, it didn't really come from much of anywhere but the decision. It was I'm tired of being the shy. I'm tired of being the homebody. I just want to be out.
Very cool. And what was your earliest influences in music? How would you kind of describe your sound back then, and how has it evolved to now?
I definitely say some of my earliest influences were Whitney Houston, Toni Braxton, Babyface, Usher. So very much R&B vibes. I grew up in church, so anything from a hymn book I can probably give you a little bit of. But yeah, those are my earliest influences when it came to music. And describing my sound now, it's still very much so R&B, but I find myself gravitating more and more towards like Latin influence, like sounds, and more like reggaeton and dubstep and all of those like dance hall type beats, because it just feels good to move to.
Nice. I like that. Yeah, Unbreak My Heart was my best friend's very first ever breakup song when he came out and got his first boyfriend. I heard that thing on repeat about 8 million times, I got to tell you, my friend. So I became a Toni Braxton fan just to make him listen to more than one song. I hear you. She's a good influence to have. Very, very cool. So you're writing the songs. You're a great songwriter. What comes to you first? You usually have the music, you get a beat in your head, or do you start with lyrics and kind of work that way, or does it just depend on the song?
Truly, it all starts with experience. Everything I've written about is kind of extremely personal to me, or someone that's really close to me has experienced it, and we shared that moment together. But the music really comes first. The moment is the first bit of inspiration. It's like you feel it in like the sounds and the melody and everything that's coming from the music, and you're like, that's what situation fits here.
Nice. And were you ever a dancer before, or did you have the natural rhythm that way, or do you just have the sounds in your head and able to work it that way? How does music interpret itself through your body?
I've never really considered myself a dancer per se, but there are certain things that just feel right. So I can go with the flow, and if you give me choreography and enough time to rehearse it, we'll be pretty good.
There you go. I like it. And what was the fastest song you ever wrote? Did something just ever spill out of you quickly, or do you have is it kind of a long process and you massage it a bit, or how does your process go in writing?
I would say every song kind of comes naturally, but I'd say the quickest song I wrote was my second release this year, which was Satisfaction Guaranteed. It kind of just flew out from the second I heard the track, and I was driving in from Ventura to Venice, and I was just like listening to the beat in the car, and I was like, oh crap, and I just started singing along, and the whole song wrote itself by the time I made it to Venice.
Nice. I like that. We were talking off air that we both lived in Ventura area, and I love the drives down PCH. Now it's got to be nice when there's no traffic. It's kind of hellacious when I used to live there. But
it's beautiful.
It's got to be a little bit of drive from Ventura through Malibu and down to Venice now. A little easier drive.
Totally is.
Great beachfront cities, though. What's gravitated you to the beach while you live there?
It's more of an energetic pool. Also, work is down here for the most part, and it's just beautiful. Like right now, I'm on a rooftop. It's sunny. The wind's blowing. Temperature's perfect. You know, aside from my sinuses being a little messed up because of any pollen or pollution in the air, which luckily is getting better. Thanks, COVID. I'm great. I love it. It feels amazing to be here.
I love it. And Venice had its first Pride about 3 years ago or so. Have you been able to play a Pride or go to a Pride in Venice? Were you living there when that happened? Because this year, who knows if it's even going to happen?
Actually, the band that I was a part of beforehand, Echo V, we played Venice's first Pride.
Really? Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. I had one of the founders of Venice Pride on the very first year, and that was pretty exciting stuff. And they've had come in the news with the rainbow painted lifeguard tower and stuff. So Venice is a cool area, and it's really becoming very LGBTQ friendly over the last 3 or 4 years.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful. The space is just getting better and better. I really love Venice now.
And we've been talking to a lot of my guests. There is a couple of side effects of COVID-19, of course, is actually air quality and water quality. Things are actually cleaning up for those that are climate deniers and stuff. It's got to be even more beautiful, I would think.
Oh, yeah, it is. I think I was headed back to Ventura, and I decided to take the 101. And right where you connect from the 405 to the 101, there's a downhill. And I've never looked out in the 5 years I lived in Los Angeles. I've never looked out past the freeway, but I looked out past the freeway, and there were mountains. I didn't know there were mountains there, and I don't think I've ever been able to see them before.
That is hilarious. Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about, too. I love that. Too funny. Well, you mentioned Echo V. We got to talk about that a bit. You were part of the very first gay boy band there. There was 5 of you there. Talk about that experience. What brought you guys together, and what did you think about it at the time when someone proposed it to you?
So actually, it was sometime after I moved to California, and I was just working 9 to 5, day in, day out, and I had actually stopped doing music for quite some time. And I started like getting that itch where it's like I can't be happy without this. You know, everything else in life was good. There were no problems. And I was like, there's something wrong. And I was like, I'm not doing something I'm passionate about. So I started looking for live gigs, karaoke nights, anything like that on Craigslist. This is when Craigslist was really big. And I saw an ad looking for a boy band member. And I was like, oh, I'm going to go audition for this. A few phone calls and videos back and forth. And I was auditioning and part of the group.
Nice. Well, I got to say, the sounds blended together fantastic. Another thing I really liked was the diversity of the group. You had a really good diverse core. I mean, a lot of the boy bands you've seen are all vanilla white boys up there singing and trying to dance, some of them better than others. But was that kind of thought as well, besides being the first gay band to have that diversity, or is that just kind of the way it worked out?
Well, ironically, the band never set out to be extremely diverse. It never really set out to be an LGBT group. We actually just all came together as singers. We all auditioned, and then it was kind of that aha moment when I think I was the fifth person for the group at that time, and we all just finished the auditions, and we looked around the room. It was like, "Are you gay? Are you gay?" It was like, "Yeah." And it was like sisterhood immediately. So we just ended up becoming an LGBT group. None of us were intending on that. I don't think that was how the group was meant to be put together. So it just ended up being an amazing coincidence.
That is wild. And talk about being part of a group. I mean, there's always good parts and bad parts. What was the best thing about being together, and what was kind of the worst part about being together as a band?
I mean, I would say that it's the exact same thing. It's a double-edged sword of having a sense of community and working with any group of people, where it's like you have all of this amazing input, all of these talents, all of these things coming together and melding and working together, and then sometimes those things don't work. You know, so it's a cursing and a blessing all at the same time.
Sure. And what was your most memorable moment being with the group? Is there any place you guys played or anything you remember that really sticks out in your mind?
Ironically, I would say we did Phoenix Rainbow Festival October of 2018. And I think like flying into Phoenix and just like experiencing how they had their setup, a great performance set, and just everybody coming together and chilling and vibing. I think that was really one of our, like, that's the standout moment for me, was like Phoenix Rainbow Festival.
That sounds amazing. Very, very cool. And now you're performing your own solo career. Was it, I mean, usually when people break up, it's because of they want to try things out on their own. There's usually good feelings, sometimes not. Is it you always get back to the point where you miss each other? Are you guys at that point yet where you're calling each other up and missing each other? Or how's it like going to the single route now?
Well, one, our communication never really stopped. For me, leaving the group was a personal thing. I was dealing with some personal, medical, like life stuff at the time. And so I needed to step back and reassess myself. And then during that period when I was coming out of that and just like coming back up the hill, I was just writing more. I was singing more. I was feeling my vibe, and I just started producing music. So none of it was really like, I was never intending to go solo. That was never a major intention.
And talk about when you're doing that, do you feel a different vibe? Your music, I mean, you were very poppy there. You had some good songs, Echo, but did your vibe kind of change a little bit? And talk about what your writing was like. Did you feel inspiration from the group, or did you just feel yourself going in a whole different direction?
I feel like a lot of things have shifted and were influenced by the experience with the group. So the group is extremely diverse in many ways. Like we had members who were more musical theater, who were more hip hop, some who were more R&B, and some who were more like pop directly. So that experience has just shifted and changed me. So I'm kind of like writing from all of those experiences and vibing with all of those sounds now.
Nice. I love that. And what's kind of different? What now that you're on your own, do you miss the comfort of having other people and blending your music together and having kind of like a camaraderie there? What's kind of the best and worst part of being a single artist?
I do, and again, it comes back to that double-edged sword of like community and working together. Like I miss having that I can just turn to somebody and it's like, hey, does that sound good? Does that sound right? That little bit of security that comes with having a group of people, the opinion, the talent, like that source, that resource is something you can't really deny, and so I definitely do miss that. But it also is one of the best parts about being a solo artist. It's like, ooh, I'm going to make a decision. There we go. But then it's like that moment where you feel slightly insecure about something, like, oh, crap, I got to question that 3 or 4 times in my head before I move forward. So
Right.
It's nice because you always had somebody to have your back, but then it's really great now because you go forward and you do, and if you mess up, then you go back to the drawing board.
There you go. I like that. And talk about the music business in general. I mean, we've had in the past, some of the older boy bands had some really controlling people there, and music in general has changed. I mean, you're young enough where it's pretty much the same. You probably had streaming your entire career that way, but it went from creating albums and creating a feel of a music to now doing singles and releasing things a different way. How do you feel the music business is, and how does it work with your vibe?
I feel like when you dive really deep into it, it's all still technically the same. You know, the only difference is independent artists now have so much access to all of these other streaming platforms, all of these ways to promote themselves. So it's just the difference in if you decide you want to build a big team or if you want to go at it and do it on your own. So I feel like one of the best experiences about being an independent artist is, of course, being able to make those decisions. But it's an amazing transition. I feel like it's so nice to be able to have so much control over what you're doing.
I bet, sure. And we talked a bit off air, and I've talked to a couple of other guests that now with this whole COVID thing going on, really the face of entertainment is changing a bit. We're seeing a lot of artists doing a lot of video streaming with their music now, and who knows how soon we're going to be able to gather more than 20 to 50 people at a time. How are you kind of getting in your head how you're going to adapt to that? Where do you see the future of music going for a little while?
I mean, it's definitely for a little while it'll be very hard to get people together in gatherings and do live performances. So I think one of the benefits is, you know, we're all learning the technology. We're all developing who we are when we're just by ourselves. So, I mean, one of my purchases this morning on Amazon was some equipment to do live performances from a space. So, yeah, it's definitely going to be a small transition until all of this clears up, but it's not necessarily bad. It's just different.
Gotcha. Very cool. Let's get into the new single and video. I really, really like it. Let everyone know the name of it, and it sounds so personal to me. The lyrics are amazing. Describe a little bit about what the song is about. So the single's called No Love, and it features a rapper that I recently met actually through Instagram, not even in person, Mac, and Mac's an amazing writer and singer as well. But the song itself is really... it's a cautionary tale, and it's a situation I personally flipped in my life that's mainly about not allowing yourself to chase after people who aren't ready to receive the love that you're wanting to give, and also searching deeper inside yourself to understand what love means to you so that you don't end up in situations where you're stuck with someone who can't give you what you deserve. Right. That makes so much sense. And the music video is very cool, very well thought out production. Was the music video your vision? And talk about the imagery of it, because I kind of read about a little dual messaging in it that I thought was very, very kind of awesome in its own way. Talk about the video and that process. So the video, I would like to say it's just my brainchild, but definitely a conversation with some friends lended its ear to how we went about it. So I had several concepts in my head, but then I ended up having this conversation with a couple of my close friends
about breakups and cheating and like the concept that I was working on. They were like, well, shouldn't that be a crime the way that person treated you? And we started diving into if breaking someone's heart, if cheating on someone and lying to someone should be criminal offenses, and pretty much how that would go in our modern judicial system. That's really the major influence for the entire video. It's what if we criminalized heartbreak and what that would look like.
I thought that was just such an interesting way to look at it, and it's really cool. How long did it take to shoot?
We set up for a 6-hour day, but ironically, a lot of things went wrong. You know, you can never plan for everything. So we ended up shooting the entire video within a 4-hour period.
Oh, man. That's pretty wild. Yeah, my friend recently did a music video down at a beach in Malibu that he's never been to before, but he thought it'd be very cool. First thing, he didn't realize that there's about 100 steps down to the beach, and you know how much equipment it takes for a music video. So it took 10 years just to move the equipment back and forth. And, yeah, there's some tales of woe going on in making videos. I don't envy any of you artists that do that because it's a lot of work that goes into it, right?
It is, and it's definitely a little stressful. The smaller your team is, the more stressful it can be. And I had an amazing team of people who just came in and were ready to help and willing to help for free. And I just got really, really lucky, to be honest.
You say you're working on more music. You have more stuff in your head coming out. Have you seen – how is the music developing? Are you feeling a theme through it? Is it kind of telling a story as it goes? Or is it just different parts of your life that you've written into song and you're kind of dispersing them in different times? Or how is the music coming about to you?
I mean, the most fun about anything that I'm kind of working on, especially this year, and some of the stuff we've just started writing now, is love is always part of the theme. You know, falling down the right path or the wrong path of love and how that sort of like has affected me and affected people that I've been with. So I guess I'm more of a cautionary tale when you're listening to the music, like, please don't do this. Please don't get your heart broken this way. But, you know, some things you definitely have to experience, and that's what's coming out.
Nice. Now speak to that for a second. I mean, you're a very good-looking artist out there. I'm sure people are asking all the time, what does it take to get into the heart of J Mac? What are you looking for out there in a guy?
A very honest, secure human being who's kind of got their shit together, or at least is on the path to getting their shit together. But unfortunately, kind of already found that person, and they got their shit way better together than I do. So I'm super thankful to be riding the wave with them.
There you go. That's great. Congratulations. It's great when you find your people out there and you ride that journey for as long as you can. Hopefully it's forever, and congratulations, man. That's awesome.
All right. Thank you.
We'll talk a little bit about any future projects, anything that you're looking to do. Do you have music videos in mind? How many tracks are you working on right now?
Right now we're working on about 6 more for release throughout the year. Down just released at the end of March. Satisfaction Guaranteed before that in February on Valentine's Day. We're looking at releasing another song next month, early May, called DM. That'll feature myself, Kid, and Pretty Boy Rock. But yeah, there will be something dropping every single month, whether it's a remix, whether it's a new song, a video. There's going to be something consistently coming. One of my goals when stepping into 2020 was consistency, and we're definitely not going to let COVID slow that down.
Good for you, man. That's awesome. And when we get out of our quarantining mode here, what do you like to do to travel? Do you like playing the more small, intimate 200, 300 clubs, or do you like hitting 5,000 to 6,000, or what are you kind of looking for? What's your vibe when you're singing live?
I am looking for every single opportunity to perform. I don't care if it's 3 people. I don't care if it's 3,000 or if it's 3 million. I just want to be in front of people, and that's the thing for me. The 2 most enjoyable parts about this industry is the creation process and then performing. Like, that's it. Like, that's what I really love to do. So that's what I'm hoping to get to very soon.
Nice. Well said. And is there any places that you would like to go back to again to perform that you have before, either with Echo or on your own? And is there any dream places you'd like to perform in the future?
Oddly, I really haven't thought about that, but I am just extremely open to anything and everything that's coming. The one thing I love about living in Los Angeles is there are so many untapped resources and venues. So it's all about getting to that next space and communicating with all of those people.
And your music is so verbally strong. It has great lyrics. Have you ever thought about licensing it out to like movies and things like that? Because you do have such great storytelling in your music. Have you ever been approached on that, or is that something you'd be interested in?
Yeah, actually, it is. One of the really cool things, I'm not sure if I can talk about this. No one told me I couldn't, so I'm going to talk about it. Reverie, the LGBT streaming service, actually licensed out the video for No Love. So that's going to be a great partnership moving forward. Some people I'd really love to get my music out to would be anyone and everyone willing to. I love seeing some of the creativity that's coming from like HBO and Netflix and all of the unsigned and independent artists that they're working with on their program. So I'm really looking forward to pushing in those directions as well.
Very good. Reverie is an excellent company to be working with. Deku, who does a lot of LGBT videos out there, is an after-the-fact, more video and movie-oriented. But I'm glad you're out there with Reverie. They're a great group to work with. And do you think if Pride kind of goes in, do you like doing the Pride festivals? You said you had a great time out in Arizona in a different type of festival. Is it fun to do the Pride festivals for you?
Oh, it's extremely fun. It's always fun. Like, even if it's local travel or if it's like cross country, like it's amazing to do those events because you're just surrounded by so much love. That is the one really amazing thing about Pride. When you walk into that space, there's so much love, so much camaraderie. One thing I'm really looking forward to, and hopefully COVID is past, or at least we can gather at that point. Palm Springs typically happens in November. So I'm hoping and praying that is an opportunity that we get to be a part of this year.
There you go. I'm shooting for Palm Springs. I do my show for the last 2 years. I do my show for a month of live shows in Palm Springs every June or July. And this year, I don't know if I'm going to do it because of the resort I usually do it at is closed till June 10th. So I'm not sure what's going to happen. But this year, I have lots of good friends that live in Palm Springs. So this year I'm going to do Palm Springs Pride no matter what. I usually haven't been able to go because I do a month's worth of shows, either June, July, or August. So I usually can't get back quick enough. But I think that's a great plan. November in Palm Springs is a beautiful time, right?
Exactly, and it's still Cali weather. So even though it's November, it's not cold.
Exactly. And that's why I get a free month of rooms in Palm Springs in June, July, and August because it's hot as hell there, my friend. He said, "Come on out. I'll give you a free room for a month and bring your guests out there. We'll give them a free room because no one else is here. It's too damn hot."
Very true.
All right. Well, J Mac, it's been just a pleasure getting to know you. This is your first time on the show. We're going to have you back many, many times as new music drops.
Awesome.
Let all my listeners know where they can find you on your YouTube channel. Do you have a website, social media?
Yeah, YouTube is going to be J Mac Music, and that is JayMacMusiq. That's music with a Q. The website's going to be the same, jmacmusic.com. Instagram, jmacmusic or at jmacmusic. Those are going to be the three platforms where you're going to find everything. The website is where everything hits first, but IG and YouTube, JayMacMusiq, and you're good to go.
Very, very good. Well, guys, you got to be following Jay. He's got some amazing music coming at you. Check out the video. You're going to love it, every second of it. And we'll have to have you back real soon, my friend. Thanks for being on the Left of Str8 Show.
All right. Thank you. You have a good one.
All right. Stay on the line for me, Jay. Guys, we're going to have a very special 5 questions with J Mac. Be sure to look for that little bonus content coming in the next couple days. We're going to go ahead and play out to this new single by Jay. And I'll be back to wrap things up just a little bit. You're listening to the Left of Str8 Show right here on the Left of Str8 Radio Network.
We now interrupt your regularly scheduled entertainment for breaking news. Singer-songwriter and multi-platinum recording artist J Mac has been charged with felony heartbreak under Fuckboy Code 12.3.20 and is set to appear in court today.
I don't think I love you the heart so easily. Don't say that you love me if you don't know what it means. The love you want, you can't get from me. I've been in these streets too long, I don't think I can see what it is you got from me, what you're offering. There've been so many in the past who tried and failed to teach this dog new tricks, yeah, hearts impaired.
No love, no love. We used to raw, no glove, and now you texting me back to back. I ain't got no time for that. Understand you want to love, but you ain't getting none from Mac. Focused on relationships, I'm focused on the racks. You trying to get my heart, I'm trying to get a plaque. I feel bad, but you gotta understand that I don't wanna be your man.
I don't think I love you the way you love me. Why do you give your heart so easily? Don't say that you love me if you don't know what it means. The love you want, you can't get from me. Have you lost your head trying to fall in love with me so hard? I've been around the block so many times, I don't know where to start. If you want my body, baby, I can give it to you, but if you want my heart, I don't know what to do. I don't think I love you the way you love me. Why do you give your heart so easily? Don't say that you love me if you don't know what it means. The love you want, you can't get from me.
You better find another that'll give it to you how you want it. Cause after I smash, I'm dashing in the morning. Please stalk in my DM. Please stop hashtagging me your MCM. If you want the pipe, then I'ma give you the pipe. But if you acting clingy, then I'ma leave you tonight. I ain't got no time to argue, I ain't got no time to fight. That's probably why you single. Show your right,
Give me kissing, hugging, give me all your loving. Remember, baby, I'm not your husband. Stop trying to tell me about your type. I came to give you brain, then lace the pipe. It's not out of spite. Promise you a night, could probably love you, but I wouldn't treat you right. Cause your love is for anyone. Baby, that means I'm not the one. I don't think I love you the way you love me. Why do you give your heart so easily? Don't say that you love me if you don't know what it means. The love you want, you can't get from me. No, 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 no. Hey.
Alrighty, guys, we are back. My next guest is an acclaimed, out and proud trans singer and songwriter whose music can go from sultry to rap in the bat of an eyelash. She was part of the church choir as well as a member of her school's band. She started her transition at the age of 19, and that was the key that helped unlock her ability to live a positive, confident, and influential lifestyle and begin to thrive. She's also a top-selling artist and president of TEN, T-E-N, the Trans Entertainment Network. I'm so excited to have her on the show. Please welcome to the first time, Miss Krystal Beverly. Krystal, how we doing? My mic didn't give you on. How you doing, Krystal?
I'm great. How are you?
I am amazing. I'm so happy to have you on. How's everything in beautiful downtown Atlanta this evening?
Everything is great. The weather's great. Thank you for having me.
I'm excited to have you on. I know you're working tonight. I'm sorry to hear that. We got this COVID stuff going. How are you holding up? Are you doing okay?
I'm grateful to be essential. Yes.
There you go. A paycheck is a beautiful thing in these days, but thank you for whatever service you're doing. We appreciate it.
Thank you. No problem.
A lot of other artists are able to hunker down a little bit and get to the singing and songwriting, so you're kind of doing double duty still. Are you still are you getting inspired? I mean, there's so much stuff around to really inspire people for some of their best things and their worst things out there. Are you able to kind of do double duty and write some notes down while you're out and about in it?
Absolutely. I actually just began to write a new song with somewhat of a deeper message than what I usually relay. A lot of time I sing about love and relationships mostly. But this new song that is kind of coming to me is just a little more aware, and it's not necessarily political, but it's definitely inspired by everything that's going on around me right now, with this pandemic, with our president, and people are afraid, and I really think it's time to, do something a little more uplifting and something that can be sort of an anthem and that can be received nationwide.
That's fantastic. I can't wait to hear more about that when it comes out. Let's go ahead and start from the beginning since it's your first time on the show. Talk a little bit about where you grew up. What kind of a kid were you, and what did you first want to be when you grew up?
Well, I'm from Chicago, Illinois, and I was born and raised there. I've just left Chicago 4 years ago, and I've been in Atlanta, these past 4 years. Besides that, I've always been in Chicago. I grew up, singing in the choir, as my bio read, and I also played in the band a little bit. I was always very optimistic and very hopeful. I always had big dreams. I've always wanted to be an entertainer. I've always been interested in the arts, whether it be actual art or, recording music, playing instruments, theater, modeling, almost any facet of entertainment I kind of always have been interested in. So that definitely shaped my direction growing up and the things that I wanted to do. I never actually was one of those kids that wanted, especially as a kid, a lot of us give cliche answers like, oh, I want to be a police officer, or I want to be a fireman, I want to be a lawyer. Right. And those things are all great, but I always wanted to be an entertainer. So here I am.
That's awesome, though. You're able to follow your dream and actually attain that. That is always very cool to hear. Talk a little bit about your transitioning process. I mean, 19 is relatively young. Of course, we see a lot more happening younger now. But when did you first come out to yourself and realize that you might be a little different?
Oh, well, even as a very young kid, I knew I was different. I used to take, I can't believe I'm telling you this. I used to take, T-shirts, and I would put them, upside down on my head and make hair. Or I would take a sheet and wrap it around, and that would be, my gown.
Nice.
So I always knew that I was, a little different. And my family, obviously, they knew as well. But when I turned about 19 years old, is when I guess, put on my first wig and went outdoors. And I went to this little party or whatever. And I guess from there is where it kind of started. I didn't necessarily think I was going to transition, but I do live my life as a woman. And I'm lucky to still have, pretty much the support of my family and their love. And
that's
I
great.
don't necessarily have the sad story that a lot of my trans sisters have, or just the LGBT community, or pretty much anybody that's different from their family or different from what society wants, and they get exiled. Because I do recognize that the issues that we try to label ourselves with as the LGBT community, most people have the same issues. We all go through the same thing. Like when people ask me about, trans murders, I'm concerned with the murder rate, period, no matter who it is,
right.
for whatever reason. And I guess I focus on the general aspects of things, not to say that I'm not pro-trans, but even in my music, I want it to be relatable to everybody. So I try to be as general as possible with everything that I do, because I don't want people to treat me just like, well, that's just a trans this and a trans that. You know, I'm a person, and I live a normal lifestyle just like everybody else.
That's very well
I
said.
try
I
not
like
to
that.
push those
Right,
trans.
I think that's very well said. I like that, and I like that like you said, we all have the same issues to deal with. There might be different things from here and there, but in general, nobody wants to get beat up out in the street. Nobody wants to live in poverty or be homeless. No one wants to be teased or bullied for anything, crooked teeth or anything. It doesn't really matter. So I like that. Did you ever, though, feel, unfortunately, trans women, especially trans women of color, do have sometimes a harder, in Chicago and Atlanta, kind of mean streets on occasion. Did you ever have to take any extra precautions, or you kind of just felt, I'm just being me?
Well, I can honestly say that thank God I haven't had too many issues or dangerous situations while out and about. I literally can think of maybe 2 issues that I may have had while being out in the public. And I know I owe that to the fact that I am passable. But I do recognize that not all trans women are necessarily being so passable. And they go out and they still have the same courage that I have to go out and be themselves. And that's where the problems come in, and, you know, people want to point and make fun and things like that. But I can gratefully say that I haven't had too many problems. I'm able to work. I'm able to, you know, live my life and be proud of who I am at the same time. I know there are some trans women that are very, very passable, and they don't even disclose, and they'd rather not be labeled as trans at all. They're just a woman, which ultimately that's what we all want as trans women. But since I've been a part of Trans Entertainment Network, I've been much more proud to say that I am a trans woman, because we have so many trans in other powerful positions, such as politics, athletes, actors and actresses, comedians, but we don't necessarily have a mainstream trans artist musically. And I know that there are some out there, and I know that there are some bigger names out there, but they're not mainstream just yet. And we're trying to rewrite that narrative and, you know, become serious, award-winning, acclaimed artists, because our music is just as great as anybody else's.
There you go, and you are killing it, my dear. That's for darn sure. Talk about your musical influence. What was your musical influences growing up? What kind of helped you create your sound, and describe your sound?
Well, growing up, my musical influences was gospel, and my father, who raised me, who is a pastor now, he wasn't at that time, but he is now. He had me in the church a lot, and I pretty much, you know, he let me be a kid. I lived a kid's life. I only watched Disney Channel and Cartoon Network, and I listened to a lot of gospel music and went to church a lot. When it came time for me to, you know, grow up a little bit and kind of listen to, I guess, whatever I wanted to listen to, my biggest inspiration at that time when I was younger was Destiny's Child, which obviously later became, you know, Beyonce, and she is my favorite artist. And Destiny's Child was, you know, obviously my favorite group at the time. Between Beyonce and Nicki Minaj, those are 2 of my favorite artists of this generation. Not to mention Mariah Carey, Whitney Houston, Patti LaBelle, Aretha Franklin, Tina Turner. Those are my all-time favorites, and they're some of the greatest to ever do it.
The classics,
and the classics, absolutely, absolutely. And that definitely helped me to create my sound. I never necessarily wanted to be a rapper, and I definitely never wanted to be labeled as a rapper. But if you rap, that's what they label you as. And in my music, I do sing as well. So I'm trying to create, well, I think I've come up with a great balance of both rap and R&B, and trying to create a sultry sound. Even though I'm rapping, I don't even like to choose typical hip-hop beats. I'm kind of doing a reverse of what pop music is doing right now, because obviously over the past few years, rap music has been kind of the top in the forefront with people like the whole Young Money crew, Drake, Wayne, Nicki, and Migos, Cardi B. You know, rap has been a really, really big thing. And so now, if you notice, in the pop music, when you have artists like Ariana Grande, who I also love, a lot of her tracks are hip-hop tracks, even though she's singing lollipop pop music. She's doing it over a hip-hop track. But I'm sort of doing the opposite, and I don't pick hip-hop tracks. I pick tracks that have more musicality to them, that allows me to sing on my hooks and my bridges, and then I rap on my verses typically. And it just creates a fresher sound than what's just typically out there right now. So I think those are my major, and I know for a fact those are my major influences. If I had to pick two artists, B and Nicki, put them together, and you kind of get a little bit of me. But I am still my own artist.
There you go. You definitely are. And talk about your writing a bit and where your songs come from. We talked a bit off air before we started that you primarily go from feelings, from love, from internalized feelings, but now you're kind of looking a little more at the world around us. But talk about your inspiration for songs.
Typically, when I begin writing a song, I hear a melody in my head.
Okay.
And I kind of go with that melody until I can put lyrics to that melody. I don't have to have a track or a beat. The melody can come just to me. Like the other day, I was in the shower, and the song that I told you about, it just kind of, this fresh melody just kind of popped in my head, and I just kind of went with it. And I kind of just was like, and I just kept saying that over and over until I got lyrics. Don't got enough time to get fly. Don't got enough time to get high. Don't got enough time to get it right. Don't got enough time to get it. Put words to it. And often that's why the cadence is so fast, because I'm putting all these words to this melody that I just came up with. And it kind of just goes from there. Then I'll find a beat. And the beat doesn't always have to be perfect, but I have to make it fit. So that's kind of been my process. Or the opposite of that, obviously, is I would get a track first and then just write to that.
Gotcha. Very cool. I like that. And then, like, we did talk off air again, too. We're going to be playing in a little bit your song Pick 'Em Up. But I just can't believe how freaking fast you're rapping and singing there. And we talked about it. It was a little more challenging than you thought once you actually got to the studio, right?
Absolutely, it was. But the thing to pick 'em up is, remember I said I never really wanted to be a rapper? Well, this song in particular was written over the course of quite a few number of years, to be honest. The very first rap that I ever wrote was the first verse to Pick 'Em Up. And it was years ago. I probably was like fresh out of high school or still in high school, like maybe 18 years old when I wrote that first verse. And that was the first rap verse I ever wrote. Then later on, a couple of years later, I set out and I came up with the second verse. And just up until I released it, I didn't have a third verse. And I wrote the third verse right before I went to record it. So you can hear the progression in each verse, how each verse gets better, because that song was literally written over a number of years before I found that funky beat to put it to. And, yeah, that's how that song came about.
Wow, I got to
rare.
re-listen to it now, knowing the story behind it. But it is sailing, my friend. You are ripping your way through that, Krystal. It's like I asked Krystal off air. It's like, do you speed that up? Because I don't think it's possible to be talking that fast.
I know.
Awesome.
Even I remember the first time I performed it, the DJ was like, if you need me to slow it down a little bit, just let me know. I was like, okay. For me thinking I'm all of that, I'm like, no, I got it. And I think I handled it pretty well, but I almost lost it a little bit when the beat dropped. I couldn't really hear it as well, and I almost lost it, but I caught myself.
Nice.
So, yeah, it is really, really fast. But one thing is I know the lyrics inside and out. I wrote these lyrics. They poured out of my soul. So when you know it that well, just like the alphabet, you can just say it really, really fast.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Sure. Well, talk about what do you like? We're, of course, in Corona 2020 lockdown for performing right now. Do you like to perform live? Do you have, is that something that you do? Is it something you're going to do? Talk about what you think about live performances.
It's so crazy because I love to get on the stage and perform. I've performed all over the country pretty much by now. And I have no problem getting on that stage and just letting it rip. For some odd reason, I am terrified to get in front of a Facebook Live camera and just do what I do. I don't know why. I am going to do it because I do realize that I definitely need to take this time to, take advantage of the, people that are at home and that can't go out. And I know I need to be much more savvy when it comes to social media and things like that. But I'm on the cusp. I'm not really a millennial. I am, but I'm not. So it's like some things I'm really good with, and other things like I was late to Instagram and Twitter and everything. I just had a Facebook for forever. And so when it comes to now there's TikTok. I just downloaded that because I'm like, okay, I got to get a TikTok now and Snapchat and everything else. So it gets a little crazy because it's hard sometimes to keep up with all of these platforms that are necessary to have. And that's why people have teams. And that's what we're definitely trying to do over at Chance Entertainment Network is build a team of people so that we can have somebody to deal with our social media account. So we can have somebody to deal with making our flyers. Because right now it's just staying an eye as far as the business part is concerned. Right. He's the CEO, and I'm the president, and we sit and we make all the flyers. We do all the promotions. We book all the hotels and all that. Everything is just him and I right now, which that's fine. But, sometimes it do take a village, and we're still looking for that.
No, definitely, and I want to get into Ken in just a couple of seconds, but I agree 100%. I'm on my 5th year doing this now, and the whole reason I did it this way was because I have the face for radio. I don't want to get my face on camera, so I'm the same. I just don't like getting on camera, period. And plus, like you said, the technology, just the learning curve is like too much for me because I'm older than you. I am past millennial. I'm close to boomer age, not quite, but there. So I hear you on that. But it is important, especially the changing landscape of music right now. A lot of my artist friends are doing these live streams not just to help entertain the people at home, but because all these gigs have been canceled, they're putting little Venmo and PayPal things up there, and they're getting tips on there because that's the only way they have to survive. People that have been doing these gig works forever, it's real important to learn this new technology, and who knows how soon we can start being in places more than 50 people at a time, right? A little crazy.
I know,
right
and I'm just like, it's just so crazy because I get I guess how maybe a heroin addict probably is when they haven't had their fix. That's kind of how I am when I haven't been on the stage. I get really crazy. So I don't know how much more I'm going to be able to take because when I look up and I haven't been on the stage, I'm poking Stanley with a stick like, Stanley, I need a show. Stanley, you got a show? Stanley, you book me a show? He's like, okay, I got it. You got one coming up here and there. And I'll be like, okay, great. And then this happened, and we had a lot of things, lined up. But I just got to adapt like everybody else,
There you go. If you see a beautiful young lady on the street corner singing really, really fast, that's probably Krystal. Say hi for me. She needs to get it out there somehow. Let's talk about 10 for a second. Trans Entertainment Network. That you do this with Stan. Is this something that I love the goals of it to kind of bring out, get the next, hopefully, just make it a normal thing for them to be a top 10, top whatever singer or whatever actor, whatever you happen to do. Do you seek these people out, or do you kind of take submissions of other people, or what's your way of running the company? What are you guys looking for?
We kind of just have an open door policy. We don't necessarily seek people out. We get quite a few people that come our way and come across us. With that being said, the roster changes a little too often. So it changes quite often. We're definitely, like I said, trying to get a solid team of people. But, people come and they go. But we have an open door policy, and it's not just for trans women, because every time there's a trans issue, people just think about the women. There are also just as many trans men out there that are just as talented, so we welcome them as well. People often ask, what about the rest of the LGBT community? We support them as well, but when you're not represented, you have to create that lane for yourself. And that's just all that we're doing. Just like the BET channel. It wouldn't be a BET channel if Black America was represented on, everyday television. And at one point it wasn't. So they had to create that lane. And that's what we're doing.
Well said. I like that. Very, very cool. And what are your goals down the line for both yourself and for 10?
My goal for 10 is to make it a biggest brand as possible. We don't just want it to be just a label. We really want it to be a brand. The next thing that we're branching off into will be cosmetics, cosmetics.
Amazing.
I've always said that no matter who's on the label, 10 should still stand strong. And sure enough, so far it has with the ever-changing roster. I've never looked at it like, like I'm the prize or that I'm this or any of that. I'm not above any of the artists. We are a team. So whoever is on the label, we all should get the same amount of shine. I know a lot of times people think that I get special treatment, but they don't see how much hard work I actually do behind the scenes. And a lot of times I actually get looked over and put on the back burner because I don't have as big a discography as I probably would like to have because I've been so busy helping with the brand and build the company. But that is definitely the direction that we're going in. As successful as I want to be of a solo artist, I want 10 to be just as successful. It's rare that artists outgrow their label. And, that's just kind of where I stand right now. I'm not trying to outshine anybody. I definitely want to have more people on the label, more people involved. We would like for it to be as many trans people involved as possible. If you make beats, if you're a trans producer, engineer, stage coach, touring agent, whatever, we really want it to be all trans. And I think that's the direction that we're going with 10. As far as myself is concerned, I want to go as far as I can, but I'm happy with, just doing what I'm doing, recording my music and performing and getting it heard on the radio and the podcast and internet radio. If I never win an award, if I never make it to Billboard, as long as I still have my voice and I can still write, then I'm good with that. Obviously I want to be as successful as possible. I hate when people say, well, I don't care about the fame and stuff like that. But I don't always think that's true. We care about the fame a little bit, and we definitely care about the money. I definitely enjoy when I get paid from doing what I love. But I'm just good writing my music, recording it, and getting to perform.
Well, I hope people see more of it and find you and download these incredible tracks. Let everyone know where they can find your music, what the website for 10 is, and your social media.
Absolutely. Well, you can actually just go head over to transentertainmentnetwork.com, and you can find all our social medias, all of our music, which will pretty much be on any streaming platform, Spotify, iTunes, Amazon, Google Play, wherever you listen to your music at, you can find us. But all the links definitely is on our website, where you can find our Facebook and our Twitter and our Instagram as well for Trans Entertainment. Everything is on our website, and the rest of our artists that are on the roster as well.
Fantastic. And for you, I believe it's Krystal_Beverly on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram.
Yes, Krystal Beverly on all of them. I think it's just an underscore on Instagram. But for Twitter and Facebook, it's Krystal with a K, Beverly.
Very, very good. Well, Krystal Beverly, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the Left of Str8 Show tonight. Thanks for staying up late in beautiful Atlanta town and chatting with us tonight.
No problem. Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed this interview.
We have to have you on the next time a new track drops, and any of your talent that we need to get out there, you be sure to send them my way. Stay on the phone for me, Krystal. We're going to play out, as promised, with that song, Pick 'em Up. You're going to love it, guys, and if you can spin this fast, more power to you. You're listening to Left of Str8 Show right here on the Left of Str8 Radio Network. I'll be back to wrap up the show in just a couple of minutes.
Y'all ready for this?
Hey, this is
Trans Entertainment Network in the building. I don't think y'all ready for this. You ready? Hey, P.
What I'm losing, they wanna give me the pain. If you're breaking them, telling you it better be the meanings. Cute nigga with a big ass dick, made me lose my breath just thinking about that shit. Wanna ride the dick, make my fear disappear with your majesty. Come on, step it to my door with no worries. Don't say a word, just start undressing. Pull it out so I can spin on the dick. Got me screaming and hollering while you fucking me, you loving it. Where we done? Give you a piece of paper, rather than you drop it and call me later the next night. Think about how my head's been, but I found a different boy who said I could do it again, so I can fuck up them tabs. Pick 'em up, take 'em mama, love them tabs. Pick 'em up, take 'em mama, love them tabs. Pick 'em up, take 'em mama, love them tabs. Love them tabs. Pick 'em up, take 'em mama, love them tabs. Pick 'em up, take 'em mama, love them tabs. Pick 'em up, take 'em mama, love them tabs. Love them tabs. Pick 'em up, take 'em mama, love them tabs. You know you wanna get this bag. Come on, baby, jump on so that this opportunity pass. So you know what you gotta do. You think this song for you, you can get it too. Show you wanna party with me. If it's right, go ahead, daddy, you can come with me. You ain't the show, you can hit the road, yo. I'd rather be with him, giving him reduced rope. And it's coming in my head is a blast. Here's a good as there ain't none left. As for the rest, if you're chasing round a block till I run out of breath. They just wanna fuck me to death. Take me up, take me home, let me these up. Let me these up. Take me up, take me home, let me these up. Let's go. Pick 'em up, take 'em home, love them tabs. Pick 'em up, take 'em home, love them tabs. Love them tabs. Pick 'em up, take 'em home, love them tabs. Pick 'em up, take 'em home, love them tabs. I'ma pick 'em up, take 'em home, love them tabs. Love them tabs. Pick 'em up, take 'em home, love them tabs. Let's go. Pick 'em up, take 'em home, love them tabs. Pick 'em up, take 'em home, love them tabs. Love them tabs. Pick 'em up, take 'em home, love them tabs. Pick 'em up, take 'em home, love them tabs. Pick 'em up, take 'em home, love them tabs. Love them tabs. Pick 'em up, take 'em home, love them tabs. Pick 'em up, take 'em home, love them tabs. I'm pick 'em up, take 'em home, love them tabs. Hey, love them tabs. Pick 'em up, take 'em home, love them tabs. Pick 'em up, take 'em home, love them tabs. Pick 'em up, take 'em home, love them tabs. Love them tabs. Pick 'em up, take 'em home, love them tabs. Holding my breath, he got me in the collar. I'm gonna mess. Now I'm a mess, I'ma have to go to the best, cause a brand new bread sign. Glad I got that off my chest. He coming up a bucket and they won't digest. I can't even remember the rest, but he got my breath fresh like I'm stuck on no crest. But it's okay, so, cause I'm about to make it up like I do that dough. Cause when he come to the door, he gon' have to get it till he ain't gon' want no more. Now you wanna be me and I ain't with that dough. I only want the ding-a-ling, it's out of here, bow. And it's about 13, call it Mandingo. You can call it ice cream when I come on the cone. He just wanna fuck till it's gone. Telling you in the nigga, he's bad to the bone. Bone, 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 all night long. Really season, I'ma have to be in the zone. Yes, this is only a task. When we do a missionary, he be calling her blessed. Taught him a new trick, he making good progress. Now he's sending in front, nigga, stop the press. Just to shoot about, to fuck on your desk. I'ma have to get better out, and I can't be your best. go. Pick 'em up, love me zap. Pick 'em up, love me zap. Love me zap. Pick 'em up, love me zap. Pick 'em up, love me zap. Pick 'em up, love me zap. Love me zap. Pick 'em up, love me zap. Pick 'em up, love me zap. Pick 'em up, love me zap. Hey, love me zap. Pick 'em up, love me zap. Pick 'em up, love me zap. Pick 'em up, love me zap.
in the building.
Love me zap. Pick 'em up, love me
Krystal
zap.
Beverly.
All righty, guys, we are back, and that's the end of the Let the Str8 Show for Monday, April 20th. Thanks so much for tuning in. A big shout-out and thanks to all of my three guests, very much to Kim Cameron, to J Mac, and, of course, to Krystal Beverly. Guys, tomorrow's show, we have two incredibly actors for you. We have actor and production guy Bruce Hart, has his own production company. He's been responsible for some great film and entertainment out there. Bruce will be on tomorrow first, followed by our good buddy Jay Rodriguez. Of course, you know from Rent and from the original Queer Eye for the Straight Guy and all of his amazing hosting duties and with FM radio. So we're going to have a great show for you tomorrow. Others coming, since we are now going to 5 days a week while we're in pandemic stay-at-home mode, 2020 here. We're going to do 5 days a week. So I'm excited about this, and we have lots of great guests coming for you. So be sure to tune in every day. We're going to be here at the same time, 6 to 8 in Pacific time on the West Coast and 9 to 11 here on the East Coast. My buddy Paulie Richmond's going to be on, an amazing artist, just commissioned a new album cover for Troye Sivan. We got our friends from Equality Ohio Law to talk about different things that you need to keep in mind during COVID-19. We have Fred Karger, who ran for the President of the United States, is actually the first gay candidate for President of the United States before Pete Buttigieg, and has been a great long-time activist coming on. We have the dapper zookeeper himself, Mr. Carson Jones, who does amazing advocacy work. His father, Doug Jones, is the first Democratic senator for the state of Alabama in 25 years and doing great work there. Our good buddy, film director and producer Billy Cliff will be on. Amazing activist and West Hollywood. He's ran for West Hollywood Council, does so much great advocacy work for the LGBT community. Duke Mason will be on, and of course he's the son of Belinda Carlisle from the Go-Go's. We have Jake Dean Taylor coming on, and it's going to be a great rest of the week, so thanks so much for being part of it. And tell your friends, have them download, and oh gosh, I can't talk tonight, guys. You can tell I haven't done this live in a while, right? Be sure to download and subscribe on your favorite podcast distributors. We'll see you tomorrow, everyone. Bye-bye.